Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm going to be having a look through cleaning up Penguin main series 2700 to 2800. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so I've got everything that was in my collection from 2700 to 2800, plus all the new editions which haven't been cleaned yet. So a little while back, there were obviously books in this 100 that I knew I had as doubles, and some people had asked me for particular titles. So I did go through and I did fish out a few of the slightly, say, more collectible books as I went along. So not all my doubles are actually in here, but there's at least one of each book. So that's what we're having a look at today. Now, this little pile here are ones that were all from my main collection anyway. So these potentially are going to be quite quick look-throughs, but I'm going to double check them anyway because I want to be sure that they're all as clean as possible. And what's this? I don't believe it. Look at that. I can't believe it. Another Penguin bookmark, a green one that I've not ever had before or ever seen. I tell you what, there's so many of these for their main sort of authors. I can't believe that third book in and we found a bookmark. I'm blooming over the moon with that. And this has been in my collection all along, this particular copy. But yeah, these are absolutely mint. So these are probably, I would hope most of these have already been through my usual rigorous cleaning process. And it will just be a case of, at the end, once I've got the other ones cleaned, I can just sort of pull out the best condition copies, and the rest I can then add to my spares. Over on the main channel, as you watch this, I've recently put up a video of all my spare Penguins from numbers 1000 to 2000. So if you're interested in buying some from this sort of period, or slightly earlier actually, do go and check that out. Now this is one which is a beautiful condition book, absolutely tip-top, but it's been laminated, so it's kept it in immaculate condition. It's a very, very good lamination, better than most that you see, but ideally I'd like it without a laminate if possible. Here's another one. I remember I did pick these up all at the same time. This lamination is not quite as good. It's starting to yellow and there's some sort of tape on it. Not quite so good, that one. So, but potentially there may be spares of those in there. But yeah, I've done now all the Collins White Circle. You'll be pleased to hear a bit of science fiction. And that's got a Alan Aldridge cover. All the Collins White Circle has now been completed that you've seen in recent weeks, with the exception of the westerns, which is I've got a whole comic box of westerns still to do. Here's a very, very beautiful copy of The Drought, J.G. Ballard. This was a very, very good time for Penguin. It really was. But yeah, sadly, the spare science fiction that I had has already been pulled out and sold on. Most of it's already sold. There's only Dick Francis there. Dead Cert is his first. Yeah, Dead Cert for Kicks, Odds Against and Flying Finish and Nerve. Like Dick Francis. How to Unite Nations. Yes, at the moment, none of these, because these have all come from my existing collection, I'm just giving them the once over, none of these have needed any work, but I've got 3 huge stacks, lots of which I've never got. They weren't in my collection to begin with. And we'll also need the treatment. Another nice science fiction one here. And then a slightly odd Ed McBain. I've never really enjoyed that cover much. It's not a lot of fun. Very, I don't know what to make of it really. Very nondescript. The copy I had of it was actually pretty low grade. I got a new one recently, locally, in fact. Let's shove that pile over there. Still can't get over that Graham Greene bookmark. That was fantastic. So the Fixer. This is one of those ones that's in a wrapper, Look at that. Now this one has got a £1.50 in. So as I said, some of the books in my collection, although they should have all been through my rigorous cleaning process over the years, some of these tail end ones haven't. So I want to catch those, like this one here in fact, and make sure they are as clean as I can possibly have them. And then what I'll be doing once I've cleaned all the books up is get them into numerical order again. And the ones that I've got doubles of, I can go through and select the best copies. This is a nice one. This is Len Dayton's London dossier. A tough one to find because it's got this die-cut keyhole cover, as you can see there. I think there is another copy of that in the collection, so we'll have another one of these to compare it to. But this is a book that's generally found in lower grade. Yeah, very, very nice. That Len Dayton, of course, used to work for Penguin. Got his early start there, and also, you know, as a designer, book designer. Went on to be a very big name. That one looks like it's got a layer of dust on it. Still on the top there. Yeah. So some of these, like that one there, I'm going to put to one side because we're going to do a little polish run. So I'll just stick that in the little polish pile there. Graham Greene. Games people play. Yeah, they're okay. I'm at a very weirdly awkward angle for this, actually. Try and get myself straight. There we are. So hopefully that's a little bit easier for me now. That's a huge one, isn't it? I'm not sure if I've got a double of that one. That is a huge old book. And this is another one that's been laminated, and the lamination's starting to age slightly. Nice. So as I said, these were ones that were all in my collection already. So most of them should be absolutely fine. But there were many, many missing. So I've got 3 stacks to go through in a sec. We're almost done. And we'll be on to the new stuff. But I wanted to give these just the once over because I want to make sure I've got the cleanest, best copies to compare with. Yeah, they're all fine. Just slide them in there. Like so. And I got the one pile for polishing on the end there. Now we can start on some of the brand new ones. So these are ones which haven't been through the process and are going to need a bit of TLC, shall we say. So some of the books that we'll see, these are all from the Alan Swale collection. So a lot of them have got their the names and dates when Alan actually first bought them inside the back cover in pencil, which is fine for him, of course, but it's a bit frustrating as a collector because we don't want that sullying the book. I don't want to know where Alan picked it up secondhand. I just want the book to look as nice as possible. So this is going to need a polish. Yes, that's just grubby, so that can go in the to be polished pile. Same with this one. Very, very grubby indeed. And if they're too far gone, I just won't keep them. If they're borderline, I'll definitely keep them until a better one comes along, but I'll mark it as an upgrade. And I have many, many books I'm looking for better copies of. This one just looks well read to me in a way. But it is grubby, so once again, it's going to need a polish. Late Call, Angus Wilson. Not sure how long this video is going to take. It'll be as long as it takes. It'll take as long as it takes. I think is what we have to do with these things. There we are. Late Call. That one's okay. I don't think that needs a polish. That's interesting. Kitchener, look at that. Very nice. Doesn't actually look like it's been read. Yeah, never seen that one before. It looks very, very nice. The Blue Room, Simonon. Obviously, all of these are going to need a brush down with the with my shoe brush. Get the dust off. I mean, these have been sat here in the studio for 6 months, waiting for such time as I can actually get them cleaned. But I am very keen to get this main series done and dusted now, so I can then have an accurate list of everything I'm short of at pre-number 3000. It's not a bad copy of that one. Well, here's this one. We've seen one copy today. Here's a follow-up. See, that's another pretty nice copy, so I shall compare which one was the better one and just keep that. Once again, this is one that we've seen. These John Galsworthy books were huge sellers, and when they were big sellers when they came out, and when the series was adapted by the BBC for TV, as was it Upstairs, Downstairs? It became another massive success, and Penguin reprinted them all. The Forsyth Chronicles. Yeah, Forsyth Saga. That's what it was, not Upstairs, Downstairs. Similar though. But yeah, and Penguin consequently sold a lot of these books, and they're very, very common. They really are. These turn up all the time. It's hard to find them in tip-top shape. That's the trick. Find them in nice nick, and you're doing very well. Because generally, they're not that available. In tip-top shape. £12.5p. Okay. Made in Waiting. Yes, if you are interested in buying my spare Penguin books, I do periodically have sales where I do go through the books in order. And this run that I had yesterday from 1,000 to 2,000, the book started at £1.50, and there was a smattering that were like at £4, but the majority of them were either 152 or 250. So you can do extremely well and build up a very cheap library, because I don't want to get nothing for them, but I'm not looking to gouge collectors. I'm happy to move them on, basically. I don't really have the room for loads of spare stock. I'm not a book dealer yet. I'd like to become a book dealer when I retire. But right now, I don't really have loads of space for stacks and stacks of extra copies. So I consequently price my books to sell, Lots of people said, you're way too cheap. The cheapest I can find, like a second-hand Penguin book in London, is about £8. I said, that's just insane, but there's no second-hand bookshops, and the places that want to devote a little bit of room to having second-hand books, well, that's the sort of price they now have to charge, which to me just seems incredible. But it's how it's gone. Is skin deep is fatal? Oh, H.R.H. Keating. Need to be vigilant with these. Lovely. Oh, we're getting through them. We're actually quicker than I thought. Marjorie Allingham, The Mind Readers. That's got a Agatha Christie quote on the front. I knew she'd read some Marjorie Allingham, but I didn't think she was that much of a fan, But there you go. Evidently she was asked to do a little quote for the front cover, and she thought, well, why not? A quote from Agatha Christie is a wondrous thing for an author, I would think. It's like when Stephen King recommends your book, which he has done. What an honour that must be. This one's a little rough, and not one I recognise, so this may well end up going on an upgrade list, but we'll see. Yeah, he's a bit on the low grade side, this. Sadly. So I'll put that as a one to be polished. The burnt ones. Turned over pages here on this one, and the pages are slightly brittle as well. So not the greatest of copies, this. It's seemingly had a little bit of wear. I mean, on the face of it, it doesn't look bad, but it has had a bit of wear. Definitely. I'll tell you what it is. It's got wet. That's why you can sort of see the ripples there. Yes, it's got wet. Not the burnt ones, it's the wet ones. Got a 5p on the front here. And it's got sellotape on. $1968. Okay. And The Fatal Impact, Alan Moorhead. The Invasion of the Pacific, it said. 1780, well, that's niche. Sort of thing you would think would have been more suited to have been a Pelican. But I suppose Alan Moorhead was also published in main series, so maybe they thought that was the place for him. Lovely. Right. Oh, little 18p. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of room. Crack on. Okay, so I've turned the camera again just to make it a little bit easier for myself. I've got a new tripod, which I'm still slightly getting used to, and I'm conscious that with all the pencil rubbing out that I'm having to do, I don't want to keep banging the camera because it's very off-putting, you know. So I was really pleased to get this one because if you remember, this is one of the ones that was laminated, and we now have seemingly an absolutely beautiful copy of it. Look at that. That is a minter. So my laminated one, I can move on. There's another one that was a double. That's another one that's coming immaculate. Profile of Australia. A big X there. Not sure what the X denotes. Maybe return to publisher or something. Or don't dare read it. Or I have read it. But whatever happens, it seemingly marked the spot. Nice copy of that. Oh, the Penguin Book of French Short Stories. Now, I like this series. And this is one I haven't got, but it has got some tape. Took a little bit of the spine off, but nothing too serious. Yeah, just took a little bit of the spine off. It's not the end of the world. I think let's go a few little bits, and I think I'm going to give that one a polish. Nicholas Free, Criminal Conversation. There we are. Lovely. Waldorf. I've not seen that one before. It's a new one on me. There we are. Lovely. Gascoigne. Very nice. Force of Circumstance. This is also laminated, and the back page is stuck down to it. And this first page here. So I'll bear that in mind. Penguin Russian Reader. I guess this little run here must have been from my main collection to begin with, although this one isn't, because it's got Alan's name on, so... or Alan's signature, I should say. His signature date and place. I even know what bookshop. This was marked in Plymouth. He picked it up in 1972. I even know which bookshop it was, because I remember the way that they would mark their books up. It was on Plymouth's Barbican. Forget the name of the bookshop, but I remember it very well. Going in there as a kid and buying bits and pieces. When I was growing up, I couldn't help myself. I would go in every bookshop I found. I just was addicted. And look at it now. Things have not improved. Lovely. Got this one in hardback. I actually think Kingsley Amis was a great writer. And one that I have enjoyed reading over the years. Lovely. Filming this one on a very nice Sunday afternoon. But I have to stop in a minute because we got a barbecue going on in the garden. So it's about to get pretty hectic. My daughter's coming around with her dog, a big golden retriever called Goose. And when he's in the vicinity, you've got to knock it all on the head. And Miss Reed. Another series that was amazingly popular for Penguin was the Miss Reed books. Good to find that one, Iris Murdoch. Author I like indeed. Penguin certainly made a big deal when they published her books. And she was a great writer. If you've never seen the film Iris with Kate Winslet and who else is in it? Hugh Bonneville. Very, very good. This one's sadly been caught. There's water damage along the bottom, so it will only ever be an upgrade. I'll give it a polish as well. But yeah, that one's a little bit rough. He's another author. I've never been able to get into him, Paul Calico. Just never fancied the books. There we are. William Haggard, The Powder Barrel. Yeah, we're getting through these quite quickly. I'm pleased with our progress. As I said, we've still got another 200 main series to do after these, but they are sort of timetabled into the schedule, so we'll get to them all eventually. £30p. The Russian Interpreter. Very nice. There's another Dick Francis, Nerve. I think this is one we'd already seen. A few turned over pages. The good old science surveys. The most boring series ever. Business and Industry. Yeah. I've said it before. They should have been Pelicans, those. Muriel Spark. This is another one that appears to have caught a little bit of water on the edge. Yeah, a little bit of water. Not the end of the world. I am going to put it in the polishing pile though. Oh dear. Is that a piece of tape? Yeah, that is a bit of tape. The whole length of the spine. This is not good. Well, you could ask, why did he put some tape on there? It just doesn't seemingly make sense to me. Okay, well, we'll give it a polish, but he's a bit low grade, that one, compared to others. Yes, compared to others. Yeah, that's all right. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Right, to an early grade. Look at that. VW on the front. Now filmed as Bye Bye Braverman. Okay. I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. Right. There we are. Good stuff. Penguin New Writers, Frank Smith. Cobbler's Dream. Whole host of prices on this one. was some science fiction. Very stained along the back there. And stained along the front. There's something going on there. A Simon Stranger in the House. That's a great Simon becomes a great film. It's a film tie-in. Never seen that before. James Mason, Geraldine Chaplin, and Bobby Darin. Yeah, pretty nice, pretty nice. Harry Kemlerman, very, very popular series, the Rabbi series. And certainly the end of our initial go through and clean is in sight, but then we shall do the brush, and then we got that little bit of polishing to do as well. So still a ways to go yet, but we're definitely getting there. Making sure my piles are correct. Sturgeon, another one a bit of science fiction. Another Alan Aldridge jacket. Maigret loses his temper. God, this one's rough. This one's going to need a polish for sure. But Simonon, still very, very collectible and very well read. But yeah, that one's a little on the rough side, so that can go in my polishing pile. The Winter People. Okay. Something on the cover there, like a splodge of paint, but it's not coming off. Just get my my blade here. See if we can get it off that way. There we are, we got it. Obviously it's left a mark, but it's better than a lump of paint on the front, which was not as nice. Apart from that, he's all right. And look, this is that one in the dust wrapper. This one actually seems even better condition than my original one, so that's good news. I don't know how common it is. Maybe all the copies were put in a dust wrapper. The dust wrapper was added when they did the movie. Probably to all the unsold stock, they put a movie cover on the front. That was the cover underneath there. Evidently they were expecting big things of the film, but I've got to admit, it's faded into obscurity, hasn't it? Accounting for Murder, another Emma Latham. How to Survive Parenthood. Well, yes. Another one with a bit of tape in the corner. There we are. Yeah, that's okay. Bit of science fiction. Rourke. Avram Davidson. The Ginger Man. This was quite a big seller for him, wasn't it? When was this one published? 1968. That is the era we're in. I think all the books we've seen today are from 66 to 68, roughly. It's another copy of Goat Boy. Tiny bit of wear. Yeah, I'll give that one a polish because it is all black cover. Another one that I had initially that was in lamination, which I shall swap around. Okay, and a crossword book. Even these later ones are very, very scarce, just like the earlier Penguin ones. A few of those have been done by the look of it, but I don't let that bother me with crossword books. The Robber's Tale. Oh, the Great Train Robbery. Oh, Penguin Modern Classic. I think that's the first one of those we've seen today. Here we go. Another bit of science fiction, a bit low grade this by the look of it. Pretty sure it's one I've got. I'm hoping it is anyway. But yeah, it's decidedly rough, this one. A reading copy only, I'm afraid. The Fetish and Other Stories. Last few of the A formats now, and then we've got some B formats to get through. And inside front cover 20. Yeah, that's all right. August is a wicked month. It's absolutely fine, that one. Another J.P. Donlevy. Lovely. 7p in the front here. 7p? How dare they? Lovely. This one's got double tape on. It's aged, but it's yeah, look at that, not come off very well. It's left a right stain, look at that. Pretty awful, eh? pretty awful. And it's a movie tie-in. Yeah, even Alan only paid 5p for it. We give that a polish. And the last of the A formats is the Len Dayton, another copy. I think this is ever so slightly better than my existing one. Although, who the hell would price a 15p in there? I mean, let's be honest. What were they thinking? Yeah, I think that's just slightly better than the one I've got. Which is good news. I'll give that a polish as well. Now we do have some B formats to get through. Now some of these were already in my collection and some were new. Australian writing today. Penguin History of Christianity. This is a huge book. A huge tome, 2 volumes. £10p. That's all right, wasn't it? Okay. Penguin John Bosch, and this is a new one on me. Another cartoon book. Don't think I've ever seen this one before. Yeah, that is brand new on me. I like Penguin cartoon books, but I've never seen this one before. Good stuff. Polish writing today. See, this was picked up at a Cheltenham book fair in 1976, it said. Yeah, a little bit the worse for wear, that one. However, this was the one that was in my collection to begin with, which was better. That was a better copy. How to Win the Business Battle. This one, I'd already compared this copy against the one that was already in my collection, and the spare one has sold. That was nice, that. On a Blackman's Guide to Self-Defense. And the last one is The Knotted Snark, which is another sought-after book. There we are, lovely. So that is all the books cleaned as best we can. Next stage then is give them the brush down. Right, I'm actually going to do the little bit of polishing, and then I can just do all the brushing down in one hit then. So this one didn't need a lot, but because of its all black cover and it being such a cool little book, I wanted to give it the treatment. This one obviously is a real dog. I mean, it's only one step away from the bin really, but it is Donald Westlake and it's one I haven't got, so I'm reluctant. I don't really want to put it to my collection because it's so hammered. I'd rather just get a replacement. This one was just a bit dusty, more than anything else. So next week we have a bit of a choice. If you would like to see me do the Collins White Circle Westerns, obviously leave a comment below. If you'd like to see those come but at another date, a bit more down the line, my other non-Penguin thing that I've got lined up that I need to do is Guild books, services editions and some other books, but basically Guild books, basically. Some regular editions that I haven't got in my collection, to the best of my knowledge, and also Guild services editions. So I've got those on the horizon. Penguin-wise, we've got 2,800 to 2,900 and 2,900 to 3,000. We have got, I would suspect, 2 videos to do Peregrine books, which is Penguin's sort of highbrow literary imprint, and I think 2 videos to do Penguin English, New English Library, which are like classics. We've also got Penguin Poetry, so we've got quite a bit still to do really. Plus, to the right of me is that huge pile of 1970s penguins which haven't been cleaned either. They're very nice on the whole, but I want to clean what I'm intending to sell before I stick it out there really, before I offer it for sale. So we got all that to do as well. So you could say still a fair bit on the horizon. We're not running out of stuff just yet. Also, I realized that I'd only cleaned my Pelican books up to the first 400. So we've got the end of the Pelican books to be cleaned up as well. So basically, there's quite a bit still in the background to be done. This is an absolute dog, this one. Some of it's coming off, these like splashes or whatever it is. Don't you just hate it when a book has been used as a drink stand? It's just not crooked, is it? Another book that was in a right state, I tell you. Yeah, this one got wet, unfortunately. So it ain't never going to get any better than that. That's the last science fiction ones always show the dirt and stuff, and it was just along the top, wasn't it? Right, okay. Final step then. Yeah, it's still showing that dirt. Final step then is to just do a little brush. Right, last little stage. And then we're all done. Yeah, so do let me know what you'd like to do for next week's video. These aren't too bad dust-wise, so I just give them a cursory. Nothing like the Collins ones from last week, which were horrendous. Or the Collins crime ones that we've been doing. These are very much just a cursory little brush. All books are going to pick up dust when they're on the shelves, aren't they? You know, it's just impossible. But if you can keep them in a nice environment, they can potentially last a lot longer and be dust free. I don't generally, at least not enough really. I think I should be brushing my bookcases or bookshelves along the top a bit more, but I tend to not do it anything like as much as I think I should. Let's put it that way. But it's all time, isn't it? It's all time. And at the moment I've been spending much more time boxing my books up rather than like curating the display that's on the shelf. But that's just how it's got to be. Until I move into my dream library, whenever that may be. But yeah, these aren't too bad at all. So certainly not masses of dust and debris coming off them, just a bit. But I've enjoyed going through these today. I hope you've enjoyed looking through them as well. As always, do give the video a like. Now, I've not opened channel memberships on this channel because I've already got channel memberships up and running on my main channel, just the Jules Burt channel. So if that's something you're interested in, you can support my work for just £1 a month, which is really, really handy to me. It does make a massive difference to keep me inspired to doing these videos for you, and keeps them coming. So if you can afford £1 a month or more, if you can afford it, then I for one would be very grateful. And you get to see a bit of behind the scenes footage. Nowadays I'm doing a members only video once a week. A little bit sort of behind the scenes of what I've been getting up to. And those have been proven very, very popular on the main channel. So if you're interested in that, it's another little incentive. You do get some exclusive content. Anyway, hardly any dust coming off these. Thank you very much for watching today. And I will see you again in 7 days' time with either a Guild video or the Collins Westerns. Bye.